Hey, I'm Steve Sapato, and you're listening to the Happiness Agenda. Maybe you're watching too. Find that wonderful place called Happiness. On the Happiness Agenda, we interview people and talk to people who've gone through tough times, who've come out of tough times, and we help you find new methods, new ways that you can find your way out of that darkness. A lot of times it's different things that happen to you, emotional things, physical things that really challenge us. But let's talk about what happiness really is. Happiness is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream or goal. Progressive, meaning ongoing, moving forward, of a worthwhile dream or goal. And that's important for us to actually connect with, because the first thing it means is a goal that you're working towards. Dream or goal that you're working towards. And that's what we want you to be able to find out. Do you have one? Are you working towards? Now, I've talked to people for decades, 40 years worth of helping people achieve dreams, find their ways, find their happiness. And one of the things I ask them is, "Hey, do you have a list of dreams or goals that you want to achieve?" And most of the time they'll say, "Oh yeah." I go, "And where do you have those written at?" And almost every time they say, "Well, I don't have to write them down." Yes, you do. I want you to know how important it is to write them down. You don't even go to the grocery store without usually a small list, a big list of what you've written down. Why? Because you tend to forget some things, even when you're there, or even when they're right in front of you, you might forget that you needed them. And so it's important that you know that you need a list in order to achieve everything that you want. Okay. So we're talking about a list, 3 dreams or goals that you want to achieve. Maybe it's a trip to Greece. I just have a friend out of California, and he and his family went to Greece. Woo, that'd be nice. And he was showing all the pictures on Facebook. I don't know how long he'd wanted that dream. Want to have, do, be, or become. And if you've got it written down and you've put a plan together to achieve it, let me give you an example. Decades ago, I mean, I was in my probably late 20s, early 30s. Matter of fact, it must have been 30s and pushing 40s because uh, I was in my second marriage. And I had one of my friends come over and he said, "Hey, I want to help you achieve one of your goals." And I'm like, "Duh." He's like, "Well, what's a goal that you have?" My wife and I at the time said to go to Hawaii. Now, we'd been married, I think, 12 years at the time. And we'd always wanted to go to Hawaii. We knew we were making enough money to afford to go to Hawaii, but we couldn't afford it. Why is that? Because we spent our money. We spent it frivolously sometimes, but we spent it. And so when you have that challenge, he said, "I can't believe you don't have enough money to go." We didn't want to tell him that we were dead broke. That's not what we want to tell our friends, is it? So at that point in time, we said, "Well, we just don't have it." And he said, "Well, okay, so let's see if we got this. How much does it cost to go to Hawaii?" Well, we'd never written it down. We didn't know anything about goal setting. We didn't do any of that stuff. And we said, too much. Isn't that what it is? Too much. Whether you want a new car or whether you want a boat. And he said, well, so we went right then, called up setting that down. So he said, okay, $2,500. He said, well, give me $1,250 right now. And we looked at him and said, we don't have $1,250. And he was like, well, what do you mean you don't have $1,250? And we didn't have $1,250, not in a bank account, not in our savings account. We had nothing. And he said, okay, well, let's plan on getting you there. When would you like to go? 12-year goal. Kinda. We'd always talked about it. We never set the goal. And he said, well, how about we set a 2-year goal to get you there? We went, okay. That was when he asked for the 1,250. And we said, we don't have 1,250. And so when we didn't have $1,250, he said, well, then let's break it down. How much is $1,250 per month for a year? We said about $100 a month. That's $1,200, $100 a month. He said, okay, so let's start off by going $100. Why don't you just give me the first $100? And we're like, oh, I went, Dan, if I have an extra $100, I'm buying a big screen TV. I mean, that's what we did. We spent our money. And he said, okay, let's back up. So how much is $100 a month divided by 30 days? He said, he looked at both my wife and I, and he said, well, do you guys, and and we were like, yeah, we go for coffee. He said, how much is that? We were like $3 or $4. And they said, how often you go for that? Well, she went side of the house. So she went 2 or 3 times a day for coffee at $2 and $3 a cup. He said, so all you got to do is skip 1 cup of coffee, 1 cup of coffee a day, and you can go to Hawaii in 2 years. Because if you could save $3.33 a day, 1 cup of coffee, times 30 days, that's $100. Times 12 months is $1,200. Times 2 years is $2,400. And he said, "So you could go to Hawaii in 2 years." Well, we've been waiting 12 years, so that was something we said, "Well, we really wanna do that." You see, once we set the goal down in and put it into our heads that we could achieve it, it wasn't just a dream, wasn't just out there in the clouds and we were hoping to go one day. It was something we planned on going. And you know what? 26 months later, we went to our first trip to Hawaii from Illinois, from the Midwest. It wasn't like we were sitting on the California coast and could fly for $500 fly to Hawaii. It was an expensive trip. But that's what I want you to understand. Got an aggressive realization of a worthwhile dream. Steve at stevesapato.com. Let's help you. Let's help you achieve your goals, whatever it might be. Write to me, Steve at Steve Sapato. Maybe, maybe it's to get rid of a partner, but whatever your goal is, let's sit down and achieve it together. Right? Write to me, Steve at stevesapato.com. I want you to know that the progressive realization of that dream will help you find more happiness. We're pushing up on the 8-minute mark, and that's plenty long for you to listen to me blabber on, right? Let's do this. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, The Happiness Agenda, and I'll help you with people I have on my happiness agenda find more happiness in your future. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you're blessed and care about everything and people care about you. God bless.